Welcome to Cloud Realities Live, an original podcast from Capgemini, and this week in partnership with Google Cloud at Next 2025. I'm Dave Chapman.
I'm Esmee van der Giezen.
And I'm Rob Kernahan.
And joining us in today's show is Jim Anderson. Jim is VP for the North America Partner Ecosystem and Channels. Jim, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Dave. Thanks for inviting me here. Yeah.
Hey, our pleasure. Our pleasure. Thanks for taking the time out. I assume you've got an incredibly packed schedule.
A little busy schedule this week, but I plan to survive to get to Friday.
Well, wonderful. We're glad to see you. Thanks so much. And how are you doing, Ez? You good?
I'm good, yeah.
Now, have you got your wallet on you?
Yeah. Well, let me check my app.
Yes, go on.
Yeah.
You didn't have it on you recently, though, did you?
What, the app?
No, the wallet.
Yeah. Flying in, I actually forgot my wallet on the airplane, but I only found out when we were already in the hotel.
Oh.
And then suddenly I got a push message like, you're far away from your wallet. And I was like, God,
that doesn't sound good.
I didn't even know.
See, me and David go into blind panic at this mode, and we'd be spinning on the spot, panicking. But they were very calm.
I was looking for my wallet actually for check-in. So then me and Marcel found out that it wasn't there. And then when I got into my room, it actually said, ping, you're away from your wallet. Here it is. And it was still at Terminal 3. So we went to the airport.
Wow.
And I went to the Lost and Found department, and they've got nothing in the Lost and Found department, which is also confusing, I think, but okay. And then she said, no, well, maybe it's still in the airplane, and go to the customer service desk. So we went there, and then the person said, well, the plane to Amsterdam actually already left. And I was like, that's weird, because, my phone synced 1 minute ago with my wallet.
Right.
So it should be here. And then he actually said, is it a gray one? And I said, yes, it is. And then he just walked away, and then he came back with my wallet.
Wow.
Technology.
He was
Magic.
the one actually grabbing it outside of from the plane.
I think
that's amazing.
That is magical.
That is magical. So we were so happy.
Is the word.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it's delightful, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, the end outcome is delightful.
Yeah.
I like that.
I actually forgot that I got that credit card looking AirTag in there. That's been like ages ago that I put it in there, and I didn't even think about it until I got the push message. I was like, of course, I know where it is. So
I actually had it. I've just remembered that I had a similar but less happy ending story than this, where last year when we were at one of these events, we were staying in an Airbnb.
Yeah.
And I had some Apple AirPods. And as I was getting ready to go to the airport, I just had a bit of an afternoon nap. So we got up a bit late, and I was a bit flustered. So I was like pulling stuff together. I dropped my Apple AirPods, and the case skidded under the bed. So I sort of reached down, grabbed it, not thinking about it. It was there. It was closed. Shoved it in my bag and headed off. All the way to the airport, I'm getting dinged saying you've left your AirPods behind.
It was empty.
I know. It was empty.
The case
And
was
I literally
empty.
sat down in the airport lounge, opened it, and it was empty.
Yeah.
It's funny.
They both bounced out.
Wow.
And the thing had shut again. It was like trying to trick me.
Yeah.
No, but it wasn't, because it was telling you they weren't in there. The technology was telling you what had happened, and you ignored it.
He ignored the technology.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because I thought, I've got them in my pocket.
Yes.
It's like, I can feel them in my pocket. Little did I know that the two
Believe.
things had escaped.
You need to believe in the
But if
technology.
you had listened, then you would have had the magical moment.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
That's all
So
good.
Thankfully, our producer was still there, so
Okay.
he went into a bedroom and got them for me, and I got
Gotcha.
them about 3 weeks
Wow.
later. Marcel saved the day.
Again.
Saved the day.
Marcel, I don't think again. What?
I know, I was going to question that.
Again.
It's happened before.
Just give him some credit, guys.
Oh, you're too soft on him.
So, Roberto,
Yes.
give us some news.
Another announcement that I think is quite important, especially for the conversation we're about to have, came out this morning about enhanced grounding in AI.
Yes.
David.
And what is that?
Enhanced grounding is where you can not only plug your model into things like search, but you can also do it to your enterprise data. But now you can connect it to other trusted sources, like things that you go in the wider ecosystem. So what you've got now is reach with all the data models that you can bring together. You stick that into an environment experience where people can access it, and you get more powerful results. So I thought when people think about the power of bringing data together, the ability to do this enhanced grounding will be really quite significant for many organizations, because they can get all the data sources and do things with them that they wouldn't be able to do in the past.
Well, it's that thing we've been talking about, isn't it? Which is, one, you're going to want to supplement your organization's data with external trusted sources.
Yes.
And then two, there is going to be a market for selling data as a trusted source, I think.
Yes.
It's a tremendous thing.
I think a lot of people will look to monetize data. Data is your key aspect. I'm from Texas. I say data is the new oil out there.
We've been using that phrase. And it's like, when it started to get used, which was like 10 years ago, something like that,
exactly.
It wasn't actually really true.
Right.
You could see conceptually why that would be the case, but it wasn't actually really happening that much.
Exactly.
This, though, you can imagine.
You can do it.
Literally, you can do it. There's going to be a marketplace. You know, you put data on there. There's probably going to be some levels of standards around it. It's great.
You're an API away from monetization. That's it, isn't it? It's as simple as that. Connect it in, say, here it is on a marketplace, bang, as you say. It's like that.
It is
much simpler. So there's two parts to that, isn't it? There's the consumer story, which is I can get a richer experience. And there's the producer story that says, actually, I can make more money out of my data that is probably hard fought and won and well curated.
Exactly, right? And then there's the overall story about the quality of data by having additional grounding techniques that will allow you to make sure your data is even more reliable than before.
Right.
Accuracy is important in this game.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I think that's a big announcement. It may have gone under the radar a little, but actually it's very, very important. This is where a lot of enablement will come from.
It is absolutely tremendous. And actually, talking of enablement, Jim, do you see the bridge there?
I love the bridge. You know?
Absolutely
I was
seamless,
just keeping
isn't it?
up there. But yes, I love the bridge. Yes.
So tell us a little bit about your day job, and then we're going to talk about some use cases, I think.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, I'm the Vice President of Partner Ecosystem and Channels for Google Cloud for North America. And what that really means is I work and create a partner ecosystem to help people get their maximized return on Google technologies, right? So I'm all about helping customers get the time to value, reduce the time to value associated with technologies, and make sure that we, with our technology, can make a difference with their business.
So that is literally where the rubber hits the road, isn't it? It's where it becomes very important.
Exactly.
So tell us a little bit about what you're seeing in terms of the adoption of AI, because there is one thing, the prodigious rate of innovation that we're seeing that you're seeing in almost every keynote over the course of the next few days. There's just like a stream of probably the most impressive set of announcements I think I've seen at a Google show so far.
Yes.
And it's entirely to the credit of the organization. It's quite tremendous. But we talk sometimes about adoption lag, where, the tech industry are brilliant at speeding up, but often consuming organizations are slower to make their advancement, which means the gap between the two is sort of pulling apart. I wonder if you've got a perspective on that and how what you're doing sits in that gap, really, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Trying to narrow that gap down.
Well, I think a couple of things. First, the technology is moving very fast, right? I tell the people what I was focused on November of last year didn't even exist in March, right?
Yeah,
so that's how fast the technology is moving. That being said, when you look at what our customers are doing, they're saying, hey, I'm going to have to reshape my business. I think it's a great time, reimagine my business.
Right.
And they're saying, how is this technology going to help me with that? And what I've seen so far are sort of three types of examples of where people are taking advantage of the technology. First, in the customer experience, right? And this is what excites me the most, being a customer, right? There are companies like Verizon, right, which are leveraging this technology in their call centers to reduce the time that an agent has to spend with a customer. There are customers like McDonald's who are using this to reimagine how we buy a burger and fries. And I bought a lot in my day. So
I'm
I got out there.
pretty good at that.
Consumer expert.
I'm an expert at buying burgers and fries and stuff like that.
So what are they doing? Have you got any? Have they got can you talk about how they're actually using it? What's it doing?
Yeah, I think in the case of Verizon, what they're saying is, listen, I can have conversational agents, and sort of that's where you start, right? It's an agent assist world. I want to leverage these agents to assist, my workers with what they do. Then what they're going to try to do is they're going to evolve that, right, to take agents to do more tasks. Right? I think that's one of the most exciting things out there, is that agents are moving from assist to actually doing work, right? And when you get to that, you're gonna get exponential, increases in productivity and benefits associated with the technology. I tell everyone that the market for labor is a lot bigger than the market for software.
Right.
So you think about that potential out there with regards to as agents do more and more, work out there, what that means for companies and the partners. That's my job, to work with the partners to help customers on that journey.
And are they doing these things now at scale, or are they still in kind of MVP territory?
No, I think now it is scale, right? I would think, a year or so ago, it was a lot of, hey, let me prove it out. Let me do a POC. Now no one wants to be left behind, to be honest with you, right? And so they see the benefits. They've seen the art of what's possible. They're now saying, hey, Jim, Google, how can you help me get there faster, sooner than later?
Right. So that was Verizon, and you touched on McDonald's there. So what are McDonald's doing? How are they revolutionizing the burger purchase moment?
Well, I think this is like an interesting trend, is that they're using what we call their distributed cloud, right? Cloud at the edge. Right. I think that's an emerging area, right? Where we're now bringing this technology from centralized to the edge, closer to the customer, that will allow us to do things that we couldn't do before, right? And so you see McDonald's is a great example of, if you think about, hey, their edge is their interaction with the customer placing the order. Now I can bring AI and intelligence to that to drive a more personalized experience and go from there, and that's what you see.
I can imagine that it's also helpful because everyone knows the experience of hamburgers.
Yes.
And then, expressing what Google does and how it can actually work. That's like the best case to bring it close to home for people to understand.
Yes, it is. And it allows for people like me to make buying a burger frictionless.
What is your favorite burger? What's your go-to?
I started with a Big Mac, but right now I'm a quarter pounder with cheese.
The connoisseur. They say that is the best burger, quarter pounder with cheese.
Quarter pounder with cheese.
I'm still Big Mac territory.
Big Mac's good. That guy who ate 3 a day for 20 years or whatever, the story there, it's like, I've
seen that. He's kept all the cartons and stuff like that.
And he's perfectly healthy as well.
He's been doing it for like 60 years or something.
Yes.
Mental. Esmee, your preferred burger?
The sloppy cheeseburger.
Sloppy cheeseburger.
Nothing on top, just like the core of a hamburger. Is it actually hamburger or burger? I've got a lot of discussion about this.
It is hamburger, but gets shortened to burger. It's the same. It's the same word.
And what is we're talking about serving burgers.
Right.
What's the minimal that needs to be there to be called a burger?
Well, you'd say the bread on the outside, and then the meat in the middle.
That's it.
That's your basic.
You're really good, but it's true.
That's all it takes.
It's that simple.
Just described a burger.
Exactly.
And I think another one of the cases you're looking at in customer experience world is Best Buy.
Yes, I think the whole aspect, we've all called up customer service and maybe not had the best experience, right? And I think Best Buy is now leveraging this technology to, one, if you think about it, when you call up customer service, you're talking to someone and they're trying to look up data, reference points, this and that. So allow to turn sort of what they're hearing from the customers into insights so they can respond better. Right. That drives a faster customer experience. And in some cases, you're looking at, hey, when do I escalate and all those types of things. So they're leveraging the data and the technology to really improve the engagement with the person. I think
it'll
on the
be
other
very
end.
Sweet in that kind of scenario when the agent can actually then execute as well, So whether it be I need to ship you a new TV or whatever.
But that's where you want to get to, right? Now I diagnose
the whole
problem.
thing is completely automated all the way through.
That is where we're going, and you're going to get from, first the agents are assisting, as I mentioned, then they're going to actually be able to do the work associated with it. And so that's going to hopefully drive improved experiences.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
And then, of course, what was the thing this morning? AI interfaces. What was that?
The A2A. The agent to agent.
The agent to agent. That's going to be amazing.
So so then with both intra-company and inter-company.
Yes.
So then you get Best Buy agents ordering hamburgers from McDonald's.
I don't know if they're going to go that far, but I think what you talk about is democratizing technology,
right?
And allowing people to leverage it in ways. And we talked about data that they never did before. Agent-to-agent protocol, what we announced today, and an agent development kit are all about that and making sure that happens and drive that in the market.
So you talked about 3 types of use cases. You've just gone through customer experience.
Yes.
What's number 2?
Number 2, I like to say, is around productivity. Right. And I look at it from the perspective of, hey, a KPMG, right? We announced that they're getting agents for their consultants, really to drive their productivity. And it can come in many different, ways. But hey, as a consultant, I got to engage with customers, right? What's the data associated with a customer? How do I make sure that my engagement with the customer is time best spent, right? And you can leverage AI and data and technology and even give suggestions over time to make your team more efficient. Right. So people are starting to do that type of thing. And I get into it coming from a sales background, not only just, hey, assisting me, but actually, hey, why not drop an email to someone who hasn't heard from me, in 3 weeks, right? Because of a new announcement and those types of things.
So you end up with
automate that process.
Proaction from your assistant. So rather than just like reactive information.
Exactly. Right. And so you see companies leveraging agents and leveraging AI technology on that productivity front. Yes.
That means an agent's going to be monitoring your diary, Robert.
Well, that's the thing about it's gone from the I'm prompting the agent. We always say this. The agent starts to prompt me to the the agent will start to ring you up and go, "Why haven't you done that task, Rob? Your task list is looking pretty full, actually. Would you like some help?"
Well, hopefully, it'll be supplemental to what you're doing. Like,
rather than fear the agent.
You're like, I know that. Thanks for the reminder. Right? That's how I go from there.
And then the third use case type.
Well, I think it's still about turning data into insights, right? To make all of us sort of more effective. And we talked about Deutsche Bank and how they're leveraging all the data they have and AI to make, their clients and the recommendation to their clients about financial services a lot more effective type of thing, right? And in ways they've never done before. Right. So that's very exciting type of thing. The core of turning data and insights is what Google was founded on. And we now see it coming to fruition in different ways out there in the market with, the AI.
And I think like a bank as well, particularly, can have a lot of data about a client.
Yes.
And it allows them to turn it in on to create a much more compelling, customized experience. So sometimes in traditional times when you would go and interact with a bank, it could feel a bit clunky and standardized, but now it sounds like you can start to really use that data, wrap it in with the experience part that we've been discussing and create something very, very powerful.
You really can. Actually, I was just in a meeting with a smaller bank that does credit scores. And they're talking about leveraging more dimensions to that credit score and that process, leveraging the data for small businesses. So I can see, okay, here's the credit risk, but here's some other factors, cash flow and stuff I want to look at based on, I say there's 3 types of data. There's private data, there's quasi-private data, and then there's public data, right? And customers will be combining them in different ways to turn data into insights to drive some, interactions with their customers.
That would be quite interesting though, because you could, as a company, open up your ecosystem of data to that type of it, and they get a richer view of you, and then that might help create a more productive business decision for both parties. So you can imagine being closed while you need it, and then open it up for the right time, and then close it back down again.
Yes, exactly.
So I wonder when the next step at scale is going to come along from data to insight to action.
Yes.
And the use of things like industry cloud.
Yes.
IoT.
Yes.
And so you can imagine a situation, I think, where you've got, say, a Gen AI agent at the front that's, let's say, it's representing a bank.
Yes.
And it's representing the tone of voice and the values of the bank.
Yes.
And creating an interface. So you're actually talking to the bank, literally talking to an intelligent version of the bank.
Yes.
Which is then using data in the way you were describing, but then perhaps also goes on to set up a mortgage for them or to, create an account or whatever it might be. And that could extend to, oil companies,
They could.
Kind of sending drones out because they've decided through their digital twin.
For maintenance. Yeah, that's what they send the drones out for maintenance type of thing.
Yeah.
But when you think about the agent-to-agent communication protocol that we now say, well, allow that, right? So if you think about, purposeful agents down the road, I might just have a claims agent, right? I might have a loan agent, right? I might have an agent that interfaces with me, Jim, when I call into the bank. And allowing those agents to communicate to get that full experience.
It's an absolutely massive unlock.
Yes.
It's a massive unlock. And then when you bring that sort of thinking together with the kind of monetized data, being able to bring in third-party data, I mean, the mind boggles at the potential of it.
Oh, it's huge. It's huge. Well, I think we're at the tip of the spear. Everyone thinks hey, you know what? We've done so much. We've come so far. Right?
You get all your sensors in your car, David. You connect that through to the claims agent. And then midway through the accident, your claim gets processed and the money's in your bank before it's completed. Yeah.
You know what I always say, Rob? That's convergence.
That's convergence. That's good convergence. That's useful
Maybe even
convergence.
before you've hit.
You get an email that says here's your claim.
And they're going to tell you we've simplified the process. That's going to be the key.
Or it would be a bit like what's it called? Minority Report, that wouldn't it?
Pre-cognition.
Step back and just says, don't drive down that road today.
We'll give you half your claim amount if you don't drive today.
So maybe it'll say don't drive at all. That's where I'm getting to.
Exactly.
Yes.
So it feels like we're really building up now this toolbox that is allowing, like, when connected together, these very large scale activities, which are going to be like tremendously transformational, especially when you get to that action element of it.
Yes.
Are the economic cases appearing yet that you've seen? So what's your current take on, how people are business casing this stuff? So previously, there was a situation where, they were doing a POC. Everyone's turning a bit of a blind eye to it because they know they need to be in the game.
Yes.
I think it was at Google Next last year when somebody said, like, I've never seen so many POCs without business cases.
Yes.
Just like people are rampantly doing this stuff. Is the tide turning now? People are expecting ROI, I would assume.
I think the tide is turning. I think people are demanding ROI with regards to it. The shiny new object is done with. And I think the field of, I call it the economics of AI, are just starting to be understood, right? So, I mentioned earlier, this concept of return on intelligence, right? That is what you're trying to get to, right? With regards to these processes and stuff like that. So some of the technology that we announced here today is all about improving that return on intelligence. Hey, if I'm giving you access to data over a network that allows you to reduce your costs, boom, return on intelligence. If I give you TPUs, that we talk about TPU 7s that we introduced today, better processing, more efficient, right? All those types of things, because ultimately for a number of people, this cost will show up as a cost of goods sold, right? So you might have a great idea, but obviously if you don't manage your cost of goods sold, you're not going to make any money off of it. And we're still in business to make money. So I think the economics of AI is something that's going to continue to evolve quickly over time.
Yeah. And we talked in show 2 of Next to Charlotte, who was telling us about the importance of creating AI strategy, the importance of getting it kind of supported and understood by the board.
Yes.
It feels like there's sort of a maturing way of thinking about this stuff.
Yes.
And do you see in the conversations you have with your clients and people who are really trying to push the envelope on some of this stuff, how far up the organization does it go? Is it still kind of locked in the IT organization, or is it like out in business lines and up to the board?
No, I think it's clearly up to the board, right? I actually, you sit on board of a company that just got sold. So every board conversation is about, well, what are we doing with AI?
Yeah.
Are we making sure we're taking advantage of it? Is it going to disrupt our industry and those types of things? So it's a board level conversation that you see out there. And I think what people also realize now is AI is more of a journey than a transaction, right? And so if you think of it in that context, right? The question of boards, the question of the executive team is not what technology I'm going to buy. It's what AI journey am I going to go on, and what do I expect at the end of it?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It does feel like, so we've talked before on the show about executives need to have digital as part of their skill set now.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
Forever, senior executives have had, say, finance as part of their skill set.
Yes.
And it would be unthinkable for a business executive not to understand their P&L, not to understand their budget situation and not manage to that.
Yes.
And I think we're at a point, I actually think we got there about 5 years ago, and I've been a little saddened to not see this mature quickly, but maybe AI could be the catalyst to this, where everybody recognizes that they're, a digital leader.
Yes, you have to
and
be.
if they're not, then that's a problem.
If you're not, you might be left behind. I think, a CMO in today's organization has to understand digital technology, right? If they're doing what's in the best interest of their firm over the next 3 years, right? It's that simple type of thing, right? And I know some estimates out there say today's CMO budget for IT is higher than the CIO, right? So think about that, right? But the CMO doesn't necessarily have that expertise to understand this data and how to take advantage of those types of things. So that's where you see the market evolving, to your point.
Well, look, on that note, thank you very much for that, Jim. That is a really good perspective on the adoption lag and how that's getting shut down. So thank you very much for spending some time with us today.
Thank you for having me. I enjoyed the conversation.
I'm glad. But we can't let you go yet because all week this week we've been threading through about magical moments, and we've been using Arthur C. Clarke's third law, which is any technology that's sufficiently advanced is indistinguishable from magic. And we think at the moment, the sort of thing we've just been talking about, like intelligent organizations.
Yes.
I mean, who'd have thunk it?
Yes.
Who'd have thunk it? And we also went to see David Copperfield this week, so we've been kind of thoroughly drinking the Kool-Aid on
great performance.
Magic
It was very good performance. Although we should point out,
absolutely amazing.
Amazing. That's amazing.
We should point out Dave isn't on commission for advertising him on the podcast. He was just very entertained, and it's left a lasting impression.
I was entertained. It was terrific.
Yes.
But it's made us wonder, like about magicians. And what was your favorite magician when you were growing up?
Well, it's such an interesting question from my perspective, because I thought a lot was magic when I was growing up, right? So I would say, to go way back, my favorite magician, totally different than when I was growing up, was I Dream a Genie. I thought everything she did was magic, type of thing. And so, I thought there was a world like that out there. Little did I know growing up, it wasn't. But what she did was magical and things we can never imagine. And I think that's where AI is today.
I think you're right. Good one. Perfectly summed up.
Great.
If you would like to discuss any of the issues on this week's show and how they might impact you and your business, please get in touch with us at cloudrealities@capgemini.com. We're all on LinkedIn. We'd love to hear from you. So feel free to connect and DM if you have any questions for the show to tackle. And of course, please rate and subscribe to our podcast. It really helps us improve the show. A huge thanks to Jim, our sound and editing wizards Ben and Louis, our producer Marcel, and of course to all our listeners. See you in Google's Reality Next.